Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. How are you all feeling? How are you all doing with the Lionsgate energy? Yesterday was 8/8/2021. It was the big Lionsgate portal. You may have felt some crazy energies and you may be feeling them through the 8th or the 12th of August. And I'm not sure when you're going to be watching this video. It could be months from now, but if you're watching it soon, then just know that there's some wonky stuff going on in the universe for the next several days here. So today I want to discuss with you kind of a portion of my life and how it relates to your lives and your health and your healing, and how you can use this information to have a healthy, happy, long life. Today we are going to talk about the real fountain of youth. My voice is kind of failing because of smoke in the air. We have a lot of fires going on and it's making my sinuses really crazy, draining all the time. So this is my book, The Real Fountain of Youth. I actually spent 5 years writing this book. It's an introduction to the peace stress management system. It's available on Amazon. And I spent 5 years writing it. I started writing it back in 2011, and I published it in 2016. It was a bestseller back then. I had to take it off the market for a few years because I had shut my business down temporarily, and I couldn't have books out there and not have a business to deal with them through, so I pulled them off the market. And so I put this one back on, and for those of you who are new to it, I mean, it sold a lot of copies back then, but there's a lot of people who are new to this book, and I just wanted to come on my channel because this is really important. I don't write these books. This was the first book I ever wrote in my life. And I'm going to kind of tell you the story of why I wrote it and how I wrote it, but I will tell you right off the bat, I don't write books for the sake of being rich or famous. In fact, I don't make that much money on the book. In fact, if that was my only income, I'd be living in a tent somewhere outside on the street or sleeping on the street, because when you publish these things on Amazon, and because I don't have like an advertising budget, and I don't have a personal assistants, and I don't have a company that promotes this for me at all. It's just me, putting it up on Amazon and talking about it here and on my social media. I don't make a ton of money, and that wasn't the purpose why I write books. I wrote this book because it was channeled to me to write the book. So let me start off, and it's the same as my Ascension 101 book. If you haven't gotten that one was just published in 2019, 2020, it's kind of half and half, but it was 20. It says 2020 in the book, but I started writing that back in 2019. That was also kind of channeled information. When I say channeled, I'm not talking the kind of channeling where a being takes me over. It's messages. I'm getting messages and communication. So today I want to sing something. What am I seeing? Interesting. I'm seeing something in the camera. Sorry about that, guys. I'm seeing something weird, like an orb, or I don't know. I'm seeing something in my room. So just trying to figure out who's here. I'm not too worried about it because I have my fearless little fighter on the bed next to me here, and she can see the things, whether they're good or bad, and if they're bad, she'd chase it out of here. So I'm not worried about it. If it's a friendly, whatever it is, it's friendly and beneficial. So I'm just kind of curious because I see something. So anyways, sorry, I got distracted. When I see weird things in the camera, it can be kind of scary, or it can be kind of exciting, and it definitely distracts me. Plus I do have ADD, so that helps too. So today I want to talk to you about this. So I don't write these books. I get these messages, that say go write this book, and then I write the book. And I'm kind of a stubborn girl. I've always been stubborn my whole life, and so I will get these messages telling me go do this, go do that, and I'll sit there and go, no, I'm not going to do that, and literally get into an argument with Yeshua from time to time and tell him I'm not going to do stuff, and guess what? He wins every time. He always wins. I can't. At some point, I have to give in because he's the boss. But I am very stubborn, and I go kicking and screaming sometimes. And I think we all do that from time to time when God comes knocking at our door and gives us messages and tells us things. We don't listen, or we run the other way, or we kick and scream. We have to do a lot of things we don't really want to do. Sometimes we have our feet held to the fire and we don't want to do that. And I definitely don't like doing that. So with both of my books, both times when he popped in and told me to write them, I was kind of like, no, I can't do this because I'm kind of shy when it comes to stuff like this. I don't have the biggest ego or, thoughts about myself. So it's really hard for me to put myself out there. It's always been hard for me to put myself out there because I've always work on that self-esteem. So, anyways, back in 2011, I started writing this book. It took 5 years. So I'm going to tell you the story about this. It's really important to tell the story because this is going to help you on your journey. And that is why I share everything on this channel is to help you on your journey. Everything I put up here is all about you guys. It's all about helping you and lifting you up and giving you knowledge and information and wisdom and healing that can help you to heal yourself. So basically, I was born, for those of you who don't know me, I was born with all sorts of interesting abilities, clairaudience, clairsentience, intuition, all these things. Always been tapped into the divine, to what we call prime creator that made our souls. Always tapped into Yeshua and Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary and the angelics, Archangel Michael, just tapped into them. And what happened is when I turned 20, or actually when I was like 19, I had a doctor misdiagnose me, or actually not be able to diagnose me, shook his head, and after running all kinds, hundreds and hundreds of dollars of expensive testing on me, this was back, mind you, 36 years ago at least. Yeah, like 36 years ago, maybe 37 years ago, because I'm in my later 50s. So, so that was back like 36, 37 years ago. I had this doctor who could not diagnose me. And it turned out at the time I actually was having an allergic reaction to a food I ate, but the doctors are all such stupid imbeciles with their allopathic medicine that they never can figure things out for me. So shortly after that, I had another incident where a doctor misdiagnosed me and said I had something I didn't have and handed me a drug immediately, which is what they all do because not all doctors, but many doctors are basically pill pushers for the big pharma. So I had them basically misdiagnose me. This woman misdiagnosed me and then handed me some pills to take. And if I would have taken those pills, they would have made me very sick or possibly killed me and given me permanent damage to my body. But because I am intuitive, I knew that it was a bunch of crap. So I went to my mom, who was a nurse at the time. All of my family is mostly in the medical industry. I have a lot of cousins who are doctors. My mom was a nurse. And I told her what this lady said, and she said, you do not, no way that you have that disease. Go to my doctor. My doctor will set this straight. So I went to her doctor. Her doctor told me, no, you do not have that disease. You've never had that disease, and you're probably never going to have that disease. And she basically said I should lawsuit that lady. Well, at the time I was a college student. I was putting myself through college because I came from a very poor family, and I was putting myself through college, working 30, hours or whatever a week and taking a full load of college classes and really overwhelmed. I was burning the candle on both ends. And so I couldn't even fathom going and finding an attorney and lawsuing a doctor at that age. I didn't know enough about it. I didn't have a lot of self-esteem either, or confidence. I wasn't really good at advocating for myself back then because I was just very quiet about it, about everything. Yeah, when I was younger, I was a lot more shy than I am now today. And so I didn't know what to do. So what I had was a huge aha moment, because 2 incidents in a row that were really bad blow-ups where I just went, let me see about this. Okay, Dr. A gives me thousands of dollars of testing and basically shakes his head and goes, I don't know what's wrong with you. I had to diagnose myself because I'm a medical intuitive. So eventually I figured it out on my own that I was having a food reaction, and I fixed it, and then I was fine. Doctor number 2 misdiagnosed me. I had an intuitive feeling that she was full of crap, went to the other doctor, got diagnosed with having something completely different that was super benign. That's something that all young women have at that age who are under extreme amounts of stress. It's a typical female disorder that you have. If you're a menstruating woman and you're under stress, you'll have this problem. So it was just a very normal kind of a problem, and that passed. It went away. It passed. I was fine. So I had an aha moment. I had a wake up. That was my first time with waking up, and I've done other videos in the past about the stages of wake up, or the stages of waking up. That was my stage 1 of the wake up, was realizing that the whole medical system is broken. They either shake their head and say, we don't know what's wrong with you, but here's a drug, or this is what's wrong with you and it's something not wrong with you, and here's a drug. I've had multiple friends and family over the years get misdiagnosed with cancers and all sorts of things that they did not have. So this is like an ongoing problem in the medical industry. They don't really know what they're doing. They're not healers. They don't heal anything. They take educated guesses. It's a guess. And most of the time they really don't know. And then they just automatically hand you drugs. That's pretty much how the industry works. It works on keeping you sick, keeping you stuck on these drugs. So fast forward many years later, throughout my course of my life, I had many more of these things where doctors would either shake their head and say, I don't know what's wrong with you, or they'd misdiagnose me. But over and over again, I had to keep healing myself, healing myself, healing myself, healing myself over and over and over and over. As a result, I spent years and years and years and years and years of studying how to heal myself. Then I gave birth to my children, and it was really overwhelming for me, living thousands of miles away from my parents, not having a mom and dad to help me, grandparents to help me out. I didn't have any relief or babysitters. I was in a neighborhood where I didn't know a lot of people, in a state where I didn't know a lot of people. I didn't have family who could babysit my babies for me when I had my babies. I had 2 very complicated pregnancies that almost killed me. And the stress was over the top between the difficult pregnancies and being a new mom. They're not born with an instruction manual, so you're just flying by the seat of your pants when you're a mom. And usually you depend on your mom and your parents to help you out when you're a new mom, but I didn't have that available to me. So what happened to me is I started to get really anxious. I started to worry about everything known to man, and it didn't help that I came from a mother who was a real negative, glass empty person who worried about everything and just fear, constantly fear. So I had a lot of fear around my children, like, oh my God, what if I drop my baby? Oh my God, what if my baby dies of SIDS? Oh my gosh, what about that? What if? And I got stuck into this like fear cycle, anxiety cycle, and I started to get panic attacks, debilitating panic attacks. They were really, 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 really bad. So I went back to the doctor. What do? They put me on drugs because that's all they know how to do. And they sent me to psych counselors. I went to 9 different psych counselors. Not one of them gave me any good instructions on what to do. All they do is sit there and say, how does this make you feel? Take notes. They have you talk about your life. None of them gave me any kind of like life coaching or input or help or assistance or guidance at all. They didn't give me any guidance. All they do is just listen to you, take notes, and ask you questions, and charge me tons of money. But I went to 9 different ones. I went from therapist to therapist because I was desperate to get rid of my anxiety disorder and panic attacks. And the drugs they put me on were actually making me really sick and giving me hundreds of side effects that were actually worse than the actual anxiety and panic attacks. That gave me more panic attacks and more anxiety because of the drug reaction that I was having. So I had to learn how to heal myself. For the last 36 years of my life, I've done nothing but have to learn how to heal myself over and over and over again. So I studied everything. I studied naturopathic medicine. I studied Ayurvedic medicine. I studied Chinese medicine, homeopathy. I studied energy medicines, every type of energy medicine and energy healing known to man. I studied nutritional supplements, vitamins, diet, exercise, everything, like every kind of possible modality known for healing your body. Meditation, started meditating when I was having these. Somebody suggested, I think it was my doctor at the time, my medical doctor said, why don't you consider meditating? So I went and I joined an Ananda society where they sit and meditate a lot, and took meditation courses through them and had an immediate relief of my symptoms. I immediately felt calm and peaceful and awesome. And I went and I studied about cognitive behavioral therapy, and I started reprogramming my thoughts and focusing on positive. I studied a lot of Louise Hay's info. I studied a lot of Joyce Meyers back then. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her. She's a Christian pastor out of St. Louis, Missouri. She had a lot of books on anxiety and depression, and her books saved my life. You may or may not like her. You may or may not like what she does or how she does it, but I'm here to tell you that those books saved me because I was a train wreck. And I did that. I read a lot of other books on healing anxiety, emotion codes, emotional healing codes, all sorts of emotional healing books. I eventually found Dr. Bruce Lipton's book, The Biology of Belief, which is all about subconscious and conscious stress, emotional stress. But I studied all of these things, and I studied how to heal myself. I studied how to reprogram my mind with meditation and mantras and cognitive behavioral therapy that I basically did on myself. But I also worked with a lot of energy healers and a lot of spiritual healers and spiritual guides who are like me, like what I do. And they really, really helped me to heal myself. So I completely healed my anxiety disorder and my panic. And what I learned is that stress is the real cause of illness. So Dr. Bruce H Lipton, who's one of the top cellular biologists in the world, did 15 years of research at Stanford Medical School. He was teaching at Stanford Medical School. He researched how epigenetics, your DNA and your mitochondria and your whole body, mind, and spirit are affected by your thoughts, by your conscious thoughts and your subconscious thoughts. So what he found is 98% of illness is caused by emotional stress that you have control over. It has to do with you. 2% of illness is inherited stress through your DNA, through your genetics. Now, back then, I thought that was a really cool concept, and I agreed with it. And I actually wrote a little bit about that in this book that I published, The Real Fountain of Youth, an introduction to the peace stress management system. I agreed with some of that back then. Now my tune has changed quite a bit, which I'll tell you about in a second. So I started studying everything I know about stress, became basically a stress expert. And then in 2010 or so, 2011, I started my company, and I was counseling people and teaching meditation. I became a certified meditation and mindfulness instructor. I went through a 1-year course, 1.5 year long, something like that course, to become certified in both mindfulness and meditation instruction. There's 108 types of meditation. One of those is prayer. There's a lot of different ways to meditate. There's sound meditation. There's all kinds of meditation, but there are 6 or 7 different types that I like to practice and teach. So I got certified to do that, and that was back in like 2010 actually when I got certified to do that. And I started teaching people. I started teaching meditation classes, and I started teaching stress management to people, and I started life coaching people. I'd already been life coaching and business coaching. Well, I was professionally business coaching people for about 12 years before that. Up until that point, 12 or 13 years, I'd been business coaching people and also kind of life advising. And I had been spiritually guiding people since I was about 12 years old because of my psychic abilities, my clairvoyance and clairaudience. I'd already been guiding people doing that, but I wasn't getting paid for that. That's just everybody would attract to me with all their life problems and I would help them. So I'd been doing that going back to when I was about 12 years old or so, 12 or 13. And then starting, I want to say in like 1996, 95, 96, I started business coaching and kind of life coaching people professionally. That was a professional thing. I had a company called Simply Marketing, and I did a lot of marketing consulting for small businesses, and I specialized in alternative healing industry, so energy healers, naturopaths, chiropractors, acupuncturists, massage therapists, all of that. I really got to know them. I also, when I was working in jobs for many years, I worked in the medical industry. I worked in different aspects of the medical industry, and I learned all the systems of the body and all that. So I really became quite a healer. So all of this I'm telling you has to do with what's called the healer's journey, or what they call the hero's journey. So I went through a healer's journey. I had to keep healing myself over and over again and learning about all these things and all these modalities, and I would not stop learning and learning and learning. And that's because I came here to earth to heal people and also to teach people. And so because of that, I had to walk in the shoes of all these situations. I had to experience them for myself. And so I did that for years and years and years and years. And so 2011, I started my company, which was called Body and Mind Healing, which I don't have that company anymore now. My company is Spiritual Growth Journeys. But I started doing the meditation instruction, stress management, life coaching, and also healing, because I'm also a certified Reiki practitioner and certified in a whole bunch of other different kind of energy healing modalities. And so I started doing that. And what happened is one day I was meditating, and Yeshua, Christ, which people call Jesus, popped into my room and said to me that he wanted me to take my program I was teaching, the stuff I was teaching to people, he wanted me to take it to the four corners of the earth. And I said, okay, how am I going to do that? I'm really stubborn, so I'm always arguing with him. And I'm like being kind of a smart ass and saying, how do you expect me to do that? You know, it's like, yeah, right, I'm going to take it to the four corners of the earth. And he said, you silly girl, you're going to put it into a book. And I was like, okay, boss, I've never written a book before. I don't know how to write a book. How am I supposed to do this? And he said, don't worry, I'm going to give you all the information. You know, I will channel it to you and give it to you, and you'll write and everything will be good. What he didn't tell me up front was that it was going to take 5 years to do this, because I was balancing a family with little kids. I had little kids at the time. And, you know, I was the mom and I took care of everything in the house. My husband was working a lot of hours, so I had a lot of responsibilities. And I was running a business and teaching classes and doing all this stuff. So I spent 5 years. He told me when he came, I asked him what I should call the program, and he said you should call it the Peace Stress Management System, PE. He said PECE, and I put in an extra A, but he had said PEC, the Peace System. And I said, why am I calling it that? And he said, because I am the Prince of Peace, and when people learn this program, they're going to have peace in their life and my peace in their life. And that's what he said. And he said also because The P stands for physical stress, the E stands for emotional stress, the C stands for chemical stress, and the other E is for environmental stress. So he told me that those are the 4 types of stress that are plaguing humanity all over the earth right now. And he said what Bruce Lipton had said about the emotional stress is true, but that was just a small portion of the story, because you can manage all your emotional stress and heal it, but if you still have chemicals and toxins, and you still have other types of stress, environmental stress, and just there's all these other types of stress that I write about, if you still have those, you're still going to be sick. So that 98% illness that you get from stress, I'm changing that whole thing too. It's not just from emotional stress, it's from all these different types of stress that are harming your body. And that came from my Lord, Savior, and boss, Yeshua. That's who it came from. And so basically he said, I want you to put this into a book. He named it The Real Fountain of Youth. I did not name it that. He actually originally named it Conquering Stress, The Real Fountain of Youth. I changed the title and took out the Conquering Stress part. And the reason why we named it The Real Fountain of Youth is because of the fact that if 98% of illness is caused by stress, then the real fountain of youth is managing all of the stress. It's kind of a no-brainer. So if you want to live younger or look younger, live longer and happier, for example, let me give you an example of looking younger and feeling younger. People make comments to me all the time that I look so young. I've never had Botox. I'm an example of why this book and why all the information in this book works, basically, because I've never had Botoxes or surgeries or fillers or any kind of what do they call it, any kind of plastic surgery stuff or any kind of dermatology. In fact, the only time I go to a dermatologist is to check myself for skin cancer. So I wear really, really good organic vegan moisturizers on my skin that don't have icky chemicals and stuff in it. Your skin is your largest organ in your body. Whatever you put on the skin, it goes into every organ. It goes into your bloodstream. So if you're using over-the-counter stuff by all the different companies that are at the drugstore, you're going to get cancer because they're full of toxins and everything. So whatever I use is mostly stuff that I could literally eat and it won't hurt me, and that's what I mostly put on my skin. I also eat a super healthy diet, because everything that you put into your body shows your skin. In fact, your skin is kind of a reflection of what you put into your body. I also wear sunscreens and a hat when I go out in the sun. I will usually expose my skin to the sun for 15 minutes to get that vitamin D, because you need to have that so you don't get cancer and die. So I will, and also heart disease as well, and other illnesses like that plague that's going around the planet right now. Coroners have proven that pretty much most or all the people who are dying with that thing have vitamin D3 deficiency, D like dog. And so D is really important, and it's really important for your skin too, and preventing skin cancer. So I take all this stuff, I put it into my inside, I take care of the outside of my skin. I don't go in chlorinated swimming pools because that's really bad for you. I have a whole house water filter so that when I'm showering, I don't have chlorine going onto my skin. I wrote an entire chapter and section all about stress from chemicals, toxins, and other icky things in the environment. Really good chapter on that. I have a whole chapter on how to sleep at night if you're having problems sleeping, because getting enough sleep is really important for managing stress. And so basically what this book covers is physical, emotional, chemical, and environmental stress. So everything from diet, nutrition to you name it. And then of course the emotional stress isn't just your stress that's the top of your mind, like I'm angry about blah, 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 or I have fear about blah, blah, blah. It's also the subconscious. So 95% of your life is actually run by your subconscious thought systems. And 85% of most people's subconscious is negative. It's fear and worry and, bad thoughts, bad thinking, stinking thinking, as Joyce Meyer likes to call it. So that is what's running your whole life. And then that causes illness in the body, mind, and spirit. And so it's really, really important for you to learn how to manage the subconscious and the conscious emotional stress. But there's also past lifetime trauma and stress that you need to clear. Sometimes, not everybody, but some people bring that forth into this life. And then there's also inherited stress through your ancestors. A good story I like to share to explain this to you, so kind of an allegory so you understand about what this means. My grandfather got to watch his entire village get shot down and killed in front of him by the Bolsheviks when they started communism in Russia, because he was in Russia at the time, and they were, what they call white Russians, who were, the whole village was dedicated to the Tsar of Russia. They were loyalists to the Tsar of Russia. So the Bolsheviks came into their village and killed everybody. And my grandfather had to go, they scooted his siblings. He had like 6 siblings or something like that. They scooted them out of the country. Somehow they got out, and then he went and hid. A farmer hid him in, the swamps or something like that of his farm. He had like a real wet, swampy farm, and he hid him out there. And my grandpa wound up getting kidney disease as a result of that, and lots of emotional trauma watching people get murdered. So all of the trauma that he received from watching, he was just a boy, watching his entire village get slaughtered, his family have to be taken away from him, and he had to hide at this in this farm. I think all the girls left the country and the boys stayed or something. I can't remember this exact what happened. But eventually he made it over to North America. And so the thing is that the stress that he endured and the trauma he endured went into my mother, and then that went into me, and then that went into my children, because I didn't know about how to heal all of this stuff and do that, what we call shadow work, clearing up all the trauma and drama and stress and victimhood and victim stuff and all of that from either your childhood or your ancestry. I didn't really know enough about that when my kids were born. So basically now they've both inherited that in through their DNA. So all of your children have also inherited your ancestral traumas, whatever, if your ancestors were on World War II or whatever it was that they witnessed, that unless they did major energy clearing to heal it before they gave birth to a child, it goes into the DNA and it gets passed down generation after generation. So we talk about that in the book. Environmental stress is stress in airports and shopping malls and at work, and just all kinds of places in your home. The things in your environment that are stressful, loud noises is a good one. Movies, TV, the news, that's all environmental stress. Talk about that. Chemicals, all the toxins and chemicals in the environment. Physical stress could be stuff like over exercising or not exercising enough. There are people who are like females who are Olympic athletes or athletes in general who wind up losing all their periods because they're traumatizing their body by over exercising. So then they're kind of wrecking their female organs and their hormones. People who run all the time, like, wreck their knees. You've got that going on. You've got the people who wreck their knees. Jogging. If they're women, they could be hurting their uterus or their breast tissue from jogging. There's all of that type of stress. And I'm not telling you don't run if you're a runner. I'm just saying that is the truth of the situation. Is it's hard on your knee joints. My next door neighbor keeled over dead with a heart attack about, I want to say year and a half ago, something like that, year and a half ago. And he was a runner, and he was young and healthy and slender and ate, really good. His wife is a nurse and ate a really good healthy diet. He ran every day. But running can actually be hard on your heart and hard on your knees and hard on your body. So not everything is good. So that is why they have a famous phrase called everything in moderation. You have to do everything in moderation. So, anyways, in 2011, I started writing this book because he asked me to. He told me to get it to the four corners of the earth. I spent 5 years. Part of why it took so long is he told me that if I didn't have research to back up everything I was saying, that I would be crucified. So I spent a lot of time researching everything that I said, so it all has research. There's just a few things in here that are kind of like a spiritual opinion or my spiritual belief system or whatever, but the rest of it is all very scientific. In fact, I had literally probably close to 100 different doctors, including MD doctors, that will pass or read this book and actually like it. In fact, back in the day when I was doing that work, I was going around to medical conferences and speaking. I spoke at the ASAP's plastic surgery conference. I spoke at a whole bunch of MD medical conferences because doctors suffer from 90% burnout rate, and I was a stress reduction expert. That's what I was doing, was teaching people how to manage all the stress with all these things that I put into the book here. I put all sorts of tips and help on how to manage every type of stress in your life. So this book that I wrote, it's not just a book that you pick up and you read one time and you put it down. This is actually a workbook. It has homework at the end of each chapter, and it has a total life makeover and total transformation program in it. So you basically read it over and over again for life. You do the stuff for life. You refer back to it for life. It's a guidebook, and it's also homework, and it's also transformation. So that is what this is. I'm trying to follow the boss's recommendation and get it out to the four corners of the earth. So that is why I decided to do this video, to talk to you about it so more people can find out. And I really appreciate anyone you can share it with who is unhealthy or stressed out or sick with anything at all. This book may help them. Or even if they're not sick, even if they're healthy and they just want to live long, it's an anti-aging book. So people who are interested in anti-aging, this book is pretty much it. So it's kind of a one size fits all. It's not woo-woo spiritual like my other book. It's got some spiritual concepts in it, but it's not super woo-woo. So for people who are still kind of asleep, they will probably like it just fine. Like I said, I had a lot of MD doctors read it, and these were people who are very scientific and totally not woo-woo spiritual, and they read it and they enjoyed it, and they gave me good ratings. In fact, reviews. In fact, I had so many reviews, I didn't know what to do with all of them, so I took a bunch of them and put them in the beginning of the book. I think I've got like 20, 30 reviews from well-known famous people in here, some really famous people actually that wrote, and an MD. I've got some MDs, I've got some chiropractors, I've got naturopaths in here, a bunch of naturopaths who wrote reviews, at least two MD doctors, Kenji Kimura, quantum light weaving, a lot of really famous people, some famous authors like Dean Schrock, PhD, was the author of Doctor's Orders, Go Fishing, and also Why Love Heals. Tony Sidio, who's a famous coach and best-selling author, just a bunch of people who read this and really got a lot of value out of it. It really changed their life. And then I had hundreds of testimonials back when I launched it in 2016. I had hundreds of people writing in and telling me how it changed their life. So I cried really hard when I had to pull it off the market, when I had to shut my business down, which I'm not going to go into all the reasons why I had to do that. But I took a little break away, and part of it was just from being a real empath and just taking on too much energy from people. So I had to shut it down, and I went to work as a travel agent for a while, and I cried when I had to take it off. It was really hard. And then when I started back up doing this work again that I'm doing now with just spiritual teaching, I wasn't going to put the book back on the market because I was like, okay, this is mostly a health and wellness book, and I used to be a health coach, and I'm not a health coach anymore, and I didn't want people to come to me and expect me to do health coaching with them. So I was like, how can I put this book back on the market and not have people harass me to health coach them? And so I kept it off, and then the boss showed up, my Lord Yeshua, he showed up again, and this was back 2 months ago or so, 3 months ago. time's going by so fast. It just blows my mind. I want to say it was 2, 3 months ago. He showed up and he said, Kimberly, you have to put the book back out again. And I'm like, do I really? And he's like, yep, you have to. And I'm like, why do I have to put this book out again if I'm not going to be doing health coaching? And he said, because before the big scamdemic thing came out, before this whole plague, which is basically a bioweapon, came out, before they launched that on humanity, the whole world was really, really, really stressed out, very stressed out. Everyone was stressed out. Women were stressed, men were stressed, children were stressed, everybody was stressed. And he said, now it's 10 times worse. Now the suicide rate is up over the top. People are jumping off buildings and killing themselves like crazy. It's really bad from all of this. With the economy crashing, people's restaurants and businesses going out, multi-generations of family businesses shutting down because of all of the lockdowns and the closures and all the other stuff. And it's really ruined a lot of lives. And so people are more stressed now than they've ever been in history. This is probably almost as bad as the world wars, maybe even worse than the world wars, because it's affected a lot more people, because during those world wars, even though they were called world wars, they didn't affect every country in the world. For example, World War II didn't affect like New Zealand or somewhere like that. So there's places that weren't affected during those wars, but with this war that we have, the war between good and evil, the final battle for humanity's souls that we're going through, also known as apocalypse, or the Great Awakening, whatever you want to call it, or the Ascension, this thing is over the top. It's creating way more stress, and it's creating stress for every single human and animal on the entire planet right now. Like literally the whole planet is stressing out, either from the ascension energies or from all this crazy political stuff and health stuff that has taken over the planet. So this book is more needed now on planet Earth than ever before in history. And so I put it back up a couple months ago, and I've been trying to find the time to sit and make a video to talk to you all about it, and I finally got a chance to sit down and do this. And I hope I haven't bored you all to tears with my little story, and that story is just part of my story. I mean, I have a really, really long story of all my awakening and spiritual growth and all the stuff I've gone through to become a teacher and do this stuff I do. And I will always be a student. I'm always learning. I'm always studying. I'm always following people. I'm always reading books. I'm always, upping my game, and trying to be a new and improved version of myself. I'm always constantly trying to improve myself and do my own shadow work and do my own, going through my own dark nights of the soul and all that, because I am a human too. And I always tell people, I am not a guru. I don't expect anyone to ever think of me that way. I'm just here as a teacher and a healer. But I'm also a student. I will always be a student. I will always be learning. So I just wanted to share that with you. And so this can be found worldwide on Amazon. You can buy it pretty much anywhere in the world. It's both in the hard back format, and it's also in the Kindle ebook format. And I hope you will please check it out. Please get a copy for yourself and your family members and whoever you can buy it for who will actually read it. I mean, don't waste your money and buy it for people who are stinkers, who don't want to help themselves. What I always say is God helps those who help themselves. And there's some people who I can, hand them the solution to all their problems, and they just don't want to take it because they're just way more stubborn than I've ever been. And you're not going to help those people. So who you want to give this to are people who are really into self-improvement. They really, really, really want to make their lives better. That is who you want to give this book to. The rest of the people who sit and bitch and complain and are in victim mode but don't ever want to do anything, like you actually give them a solution and they like just fluff you off, don't give them this book or even bother Don't even waste your time talking about it. The people you want to give it to are the spiritual seekers. That's why I always say I'm a teacher to spiritual seekers on their journey, because I'm not here for everyone on earth. I'm only here for a small audience, and it's the people who are really trying to change their lives and improve themselves and heal themselves and learn and grow. The rest of the people, I'm not here for them. I am not here for those people. It's for you. If you're watching this video right now, you are who I came to earth for. I also came here for Mama Gaia herself and for fuzzy little people like the one that's sleeping. I got to show you guys this. She's in a blanket. I have her wrapped up. She's so cute. My baby. That's my baby. So, yeah, I came here for all the little fur people because I love them more than humans. So, gosh, I just can't get over that little face. Anyways, okay. Thank you for joining me as usual. I hope this was helpful, but you know, the main things to learn from this is stress kills. Stress causes 98% of illness in your body. And that's the stress that you can actually manage and control or heal and take care of. Even the subconscious stuff can all be healed. The other 2% is hereditary. That can even be healed. Honestly, anything can be healed. I believe there is healing for everything on this planet, because God created all sorts of amazing healers and healing modalities and foods and supplements and nature and vitamins and herbs and all sorts of wonderful things that were created by our prime mother, father, creator, to help us and to heal us. And so hopefully this book will bring you some healing and help you out there. And thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, you can reach me through my website, spiritualgrowthjourneys.com. I've got 2 classes up there right now. One is a total healing workshop. It's a 3-step workshop. It's actually 9 hours worth of training on how to heal yourself and other people and learn every modality known to man, because I literally cover every alternative energy healing modality known to man in that workshop. And I have a past life regression recorded session up. And then this week, I'm so excited. I'm going to be launching a chakra balancing and healing workshop that includes a total healing meditation for you that will actually give you some healing in that day, in that program when you listen. But it'll be a recording, so you can do it wherever you want, when you want. Just don't do it when you're driving or out anywhere. You want to do it in your house, in your bedroom maybe, or somewhere comfortable, living room. But that's going to go up this week. I'm really excited. And I also have, starting October 1st or 4th, I'm going to start weekly women's spiritual support groups. I'm going to have 4 different groups offered each week. Those are actually up on my website too. So if you go to spiritualgrowthjourneys.com/classes, it will have the current classes that are up. Any future classes will be going up. I plan to have 15 or more different types of spiritual classes for you and healing classes up by the end of fall. I'm putting them up kind of one at a time right now. So I've got 2 up, and then the next one going up is the chakra balancing and healing workshop this week. And then I'm going to be doing weekly women's support groups every week, which are like a private session, except for a group of like-minded, awake, spiritual seeking women who are kind of in the same boat as me, where you're losing your friends and losing your family, and they all think you're a crazy conspiracy theorist and blah, 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 and you won't take that thing in the arm, and they all hate you for it, and you know, that kind of thing. So we're going to have a wonderful support group for us to come together and make new friends and learn from each other. And of course, from me, I'll be teaching. We'll be praying in that group. We'll be saying a prayer, hopefully at least or more, one or more each week. When we do that, we'll be doing some healing work and some meditations. You'll be able to ask me questions and each other and share your war tales of dealing with all of the muggles out there, the sleepers or the zombies, whatever you want to call them. You'll be able to do that in those groups. And effective October 1st, I will not be offering private sessions. Right now, I'm booked solid with private sessions until October 1st, and I have a laundry list of waiting people. So please do not email me and ask me if I can fit you in for a session. That's not possible. I recommend that you either take my classes, watch my videos, because I'm going to be giving ongoing free stuff on my channel. Go back and watch all my old videos on my channel. They're all free education for you to learn and to grow as a spirit and to heal. And you can watch those. You can join my classes that I'm going to be teaching, or you can join my support group, but I will not be offering private sessions, and I'm not going to be fitting anyone in between now and October 1st either, because I'm maxed out and then some. So thank you all so much for supporting this channel. I love you all so much, and please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. If you have any comments, go ahead and put them in the comment section, and keep in mind that I vet every comment. If you put something mean and nasty, it is going to be deleted and you will be blocked. I don't put up with that baloney on this channel. So if you're a meanie person, you're not nice, go away. We don't want you here on this channel. This is a channel for people who are kind, loving, compassionate, and respectful to each other. So I'm respectful and loving and kind and compassionate to everyone in my life, and hopefully you're doing the same. I expect the same back. So if you say something mean, you're out of here. So just always like to warn you about that. Thank you, the rest of you who are all my wonderful supporters. I thank you for all the amazing comments I get. I get such loving feedback from all of you. You guys are all so full. Like, I can literally feel the love. I want to like go and hug every one of you in person. Sometimes I read your comments and I just cry because they're so kind and loving and beautiful and amazing. And I'm really, really grateful for all of you. And I wouldn't be on this channel if it wasn't for you. I'm here for you. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to hold your hand and support you on your journey. And because of you, I'm here. So I thank you all, and I look forward to seeing you on my next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.